The one big positive out of all of this is that's finally coming to an end. The Jesse Lingard chase is coming to a conclusion at the end of this week as he looks set to sign for his new club, whoever that may be. And it's coming to an end for myself as well. Don't worry, this is my last Jesse Lingard video, unless he signs for West Ham United, of course. But assuming he signs for Nottingham Forest or a other club, then I shall not be making another Jesse Lingard video. Don't worry, I know you're all getting sick of it. And if you're watching this right now thinking, I'm not another Jesse Lingard video, it's in the thumbnail, it's in the title. It's very clear what this video was, right? But it's the biggest topic in the last 24 hours. It's difficult to ignore, and I want to discuss it one last time anyway. So we're going to discuss the situation, give my thoughts on it. Hopefully you guys give me your thoughts in the comments below. Then I want to discuss it from a Nottingham Forest perspective, actually, because I really admire their transfer strategy this summer and what they're doing. And the signing, or the potential signing, of Jesse Lingard, the offer they've made to Jesse Lingard, doesn't really fit with the work that Steve Cooper's been doing. And even now, at the time of recording, which is what, 3 o'clock, I still can't get my head around why Nottingham Forest are making this offer to Jesse Lingard. Now, it's not to say that he's a bad player, that obviously not, I'll cover that. But it just doesn't really fit with what they're doing. I think it's a massive risk from Forest. But anyway, back to the situation. So last night, when West Ham were facing Rangers in a friendly, well, we weren't really facing much, were we? We were getting thrashed by Rangers in a friendly at Ibrox. Jesse Lingard was boarding a private plane to somewhere. West Ham fans very quickly discovered that there was a private charter plane that had just left Manchester and was heading for London. So there was an assumption, and I think it's a fair assumption, that things were moving well between West Ham United and Jesse Lingard. We know that David Moyes wants him. David Moyes spoke about him again last night after the game, about how he wants to get in, or we've got bids in for 4 or 5 players, one of them being Jesse Lingard. So there was this assumption that he was on his way to London, that maybe talks had gone really well, and that he was close to signing. I got excited. I don't mind admitting it. I got excited. I thought, oh, finally, David Moyes is finally going to get the man he's been chasing for 12 months, and we're going to get a player that, well, A, I really like, but also B, I think we need, or that type of player anyway. Certainly at times last season, particularly in the second half of it, we were screaming out for somebody like Jesse Lingard. Even in pre-season friendlies, you could argue, been needing a player a bit like Jesse Lingard. So I was excited to see David Moyes finally get his man. I was pleased for the manager of everything, but also to see Jesse back at West Ham. I thought, right, here we go, good. But then later on in last night, we discovered actually he's not coming for West Ham, he's coming for Nottingham Forest. He's away to meet the Nottingham Forest owners because they've made an offer, a substantial financial offer to Jesse Lingard, and he was close to agreeing terms with Forest. Now, despite all that, Nottingham Forest officials were also convinced that Jesse Lingard was still going to end up at West Ham United. So it was all a bit confusing last night. Even today, I don't think it's that clearer. Well, I think it is actually. That's a lie. I think it is. I think it sounds like there's an offer from West Ham United on the table. Reports this afternoon on Sky Sports anyway are that West Ham will not be changing that offer. It is what it is. They're satisfied that they've made a good offer for Jesse Lingard. And there's an offer from Nottingham Forest which is greater than West Ham's and meets the demands of Jesse Lingard. So Jesse's now got a decision to make as to which club he wishes to sign for. Or West Ham have got a decision to make as well. It sounds like they've already made it. But will we up our terms? Because what can we match what Nottingham Forest are putting on the table for Jesse Lingard? Now, initially, last night, I thought, surely we're not going to get pipped to the post by Nottingham Forest. Now, this is with the greatest of respect to Nottingham Forest, okay? Because I'm going to praise you later on in this video. Just hold your horses. But there is only one reason he was signed for Nottingham Forest over West Ham United today, and that's money. Now, I know Nottingham Forest have got a rich history in that, but no club, a player isn't signing for a club because of what they've done in the past, are they? They're signing for a club for A, money, and B, what you're going to do next season and thereafter in the short future. So I can understand if West Ham weren't in the offering, I can understand why Jesse Lingard would go to Nottingham Forest. But we've got an offer on the table. And for someone who complained about lack of loyalty at Manchester United last season, well, I would argue there's a lack of loyalty here from Jesse Lingard towards David Moyes. Now, of course, he still might go on and sign for West Ham United, but as it stands, it looks like there's a 2-horse race. It feels like a 2-horse race between West Ham and Nottingham Forest, with them having a pretty decent lead on the Hammers right now. And I expect him to almost sign for Nottingham Forest at this point, but there's a little part of me that remains hopeful that we will see him at West Ham. However, there's a lot of West Ham fans now completely fed up and done with this, and some of them were done a long time ago for whatever reason. Some of it's footballing reasons, which is, well, he's never going to replicate that form. Now, even as a big Lingard fan, I have to admit, I agree with that completely. 9 goals in 16 games for us on loan. He's never going to replicate that next season for us. There's just not a chance. It was an incredible patch of form. We're not going to see that next season. Some fans said, well, yeah, while he did good on loan, there was a few games towards the end he was just completely missing. He's 29, it would cost a lot of money in terms of wages and stuff. It's a big financial commitment from West Ham. There's better and younger players out there. I think Moyes being so adamant to get Jesse Lingard has probably put a lot of fans off Jesse Lingard to some extent, because they feel that in January that's possibly cost us going after other players that we've sort of put all our eggs in one basket and tried to get Jesse, and it's meant that we've not gone after other players in the meantime. So there's been some West Ham fans just didn't want Jesse Lingard back as of at the end of the season. And I think more fans are switching over to that side of thinking after last night, because it feels like he's only going to Nottingham Forest for financial reasons, and therefore money is his biggest reason for signing a contract with a new club. And I think a lot of people are saying, well, if money is all you're after, go elsewhere. We don't necessarily want that West Ham. However, I don't subscribe to that, because it doesn't bother me. A player wanting to move somewhere for money doesn't necessarily bother me, because it's not the only reason. There's other reasons as well, and I think that's where Jesse Lingard fits in. And I get it. I get why Jesse is looking after himself financially, and I still want him back at West Ham United. But before I go any further, this video is sponsored by Manscaped. Now, it's pre-season time for every football club up and down the country, and it's all about getting in tip-top fitness condition for the new season. But it doesn't mean that you shouldn't be in your peak condition downstairs ready for the new season as well. And the best way to do that is by grabbing yourself a Lawnmower 4, the best tool in the business, a waterproof device with a torch you never knew you needed, for getting rid of all that unwanted pubic hairs down below and making sure your little pecker is looking perkier than it was before you started. And once you go Lawnmower 4 on your sack, you can't go back. Now head over to Manscaped, the link is in the description. Have a little look around, get everything that you wish to get to look after yourself in your basket. And while you're looking after yourself, we here at Hammers Chat are looking after you as well. Because if you put in the code Hammers Chat, it'll take 20% off everything in your basket and give you free shipping worldwide. It's the best in the business, gentlemen, and you don't believe me? Try it out for yourselves. Now, getting back to Jesse Lingard, enough talk about that bollocks. Let's talk about this bollocks instead, won't we? In regards to Jesse Lingard, if money was his only motivation or his biggest motivation, he wouldn't be signing for Nottingham Forest, and he wouldn't be signing for West Ham United either. Now, of course, he could still go to other clubs, but we know he's got offers on the table from countries like Saudi Arabia, which is offering big money. His most lucrative offers isn't playing in Premier League. So if it was all about money, he wouldn't be going to the City Ground and he wouldn't be going to the London Stadium. And I don't blame him for looking after himself financially, because Jesse Lingard is in a really rare position in the modern age of football. Because at 29 years old, he's probably away to sign, I think we can all agree, his last big contract, or possibly the biggest contract he will ever sign in his life. So he's going to look after himself and his future and his family members at the same time. But also, and this is what is the rare thing, this is his first permanent transfers. Now, of course, when you sign new contracts at your club, you'll tend to get a signing on bonus anyway. But I think we can agree that when you move from club to club, you tend to pick up bigger sign-on fees, and also contracts tend to be shorter. If you sign a new club contract with a club for 4 years and you don't get a renewal for 3 years time, it's 3 years without a sign-on fee. But if you move from club to club every couple of seasons, you're cashing in at the same time generally, aren't you? So Jesse Lingard's not done that in his career, because he's joined Man United as a kid and he's only just left Man United. So this is one opportunity to make it financially really rewarding, and I don't blame him whatsoever. Now, part of me, when I heard the Nottingham Forest thing, I thought, well, surely this is agent talk, this is a bit of a ploy to get West Ham to up their offer, to match what Nottingham Forest are putting on the table. And part of me still thinks it is, because as I said, when Nottingham Forest, when this news came out last night by Jacob Steinberg that Forest and Jesse Lingard weren't a million miles away with their negotiations, the officials of Nottingham Forest still felt that Jesse Lingard was likely to end up at West Ham. And I have no doubt that Jesse Lingard would have wanted to join West Ham first and foremost this summer. His priority, his number one club would have been to return to West Ham. Why wouldn't it be? Come to a fan base that he knows adores him. Comes to a manager that he knows will play him every single game in his favourite position. Get him the best out of him. He got back into the England squad playing for West Ham. Why would he not want to come here? He did that cryptic message a couple of nights ago about how basically being valued and whatnot. Well, I could understand if he's not feeling too valued, if the offers that we've been making him thus far haven't been as good as he would have expected, or he hasn't been feeling the love from West Ham. Now, I have to admit, when I first saw that cryptic message, I actually thought it was positive towards West Ham. I actually thought he was saying, I'm going to West Ham because I feel valued by David Moyes. Now, obviously with the news over the last 24 hours, I've changed my mind a little bit, thinking maybe actually it was a bit of a dig at West Ham. Maybe his value, or feeling valued, was coming from the Nottingham Forest side of things. What? Hi Jesse, we want you. Can you get on this private plane that we're going to pay for to fly you to London so we have a conversation with you? That's going to make you feel important, isn't it? It's probably exactly what David Moyes did back when we got him on loan in January. He probably made Jesse feel really important, really wanted, so Jesse came to West Ham. I imagine Steve Cooper's probably doing the same right now. So it's coming to an end for West Ham United fans. A lot of people will be pleased, even I am pleased, and I still want him back at West Ham. I still hope he comes back to West Ham, because I'll get on to Nottingham Forest in just a second, and like I said, I really want him. And there's been a lot of twists and turns so far in the Jesse Lingard chase, hasn't there? I wouldn't rule it out that there's one or two more between now and the end of the week. But if this is David Moyes' number one target, I expect David Moyes to react a little bit. And this is where last night's defeat might be a bit of a blessing in disguise, because David Moyes looked angry after that game. And then when he was speaking about getting players in, he basically said something along the lines of, it's harder than we expected to get them in, we're going to have to do a bit better. Well, that's got to be about Jesse Lingard then, hasn't it? I would expect, and I would have hoped, David Moyes was on the phone last night to Rob Newman and or David Sullivan saying, will you get your finger out? I need players now. Where is Jesse Lingard? You know I've wanted Jesse Lingard. He's been a free agent for months now. How have you not got Jesse Lingard in? What's happening with Broja? What's happening with this player and that player? We've got 5 offers in. Can we get them going, please? Because if we had a game tomorrow, our starting 11 would be the same starting 11 that finished the season last season. Now, of course, that is because there's been an injury to Aguerd. But the point is, you look at other clubs like Arsenal, Spurs, they'd have 3 or 4 new faces in their starting 11. Moyes felt frustrated last night, and I can understand it, especially when the player that we believe he wants more than anyone doesn't even have a club. We don't even have to negotiate with the club. You know, we understand that we're struggling to get Amanda Broja at the minute because Chelsea aren't too sure about selling him. We don't have that issue with Jesse Lingard. We're negotiating with Jesse Lingard directly and still not managing to get him into the club. It's not great. Now I understand we don't want to break our wage structure for it, but Nottingham Forest seem happy to do so. Now I'm going to talk about Forest for just a minute because I quite admire their transfer strategy this summer. Now I've got my own little channel. I'm going to plug my own little channel here. It's called Tartan G. I'll put a link to this video in the description. But I did a video last week about Nottingham Forest transfer strategy. So it's where I cover Premier League topics when there's something that I want to discuss really. And luckily it went quite well for me. Got 6,000 views. Really happy with that. And quite a few Nottingham Forest fans came along and commented. And I'm going to read it out because one Nottingham Forest fan commented and I replied, funnily enough, saying that this is what should happen. I put it up on the screen. I replied to somebody called Brian saying, I think Gibbs White would be a top signing. I said, in all honesty, I think Jesse Lingard would be class. Probably extremely unlikely. It doesn't fit your player profile, but I'd imagine you offered him some serious money, you might get him. Now, unfortunately, I might look like I was correct on that. I don't want to be because it means West Ham are missing out. But it just doesn't fit with what Forest's doing, and it really, this is where I'm struggling to get why Forest are offering him substantial money. Now, the reports vary between 150 and 200,000 a week. Now, I don't like the way the reports are reported because that includes his signing on fee. So it's taking his basic wage, any goal bonus and all that, throwing it all in, taking his signing on fee, throwing it in there over a 2-year contract. All right, divide that massive number by 104 and let's see what we get, and that's how much he's going to be on per week. So I think it's a bit misleading, but regardless, let's just take the low number here. Let's just pretend Jesse Lingard was going to be on 150 grand a week at Nottingham Forest. Their top earner today must be on about 50. Not much more than that if it is. I'm aware Brennan Johnson's just signed a new contract for them. They've obviously got a couple of high profile players in the summer transfer window as well, like Nico Williams. But would they be on anything more than 50 grand a week? I'd be surprised. The players they've gone after this summer is all relatively young. I mean, they've just signed a player from Huddersfield today, Toffolo. He's 26 years of age. I could be wrong. I'm pretty sure that's the oldest player that they've just signed this summer so far. So Jesse Lingard's 3 years older than him. His wages is worth 3 players. So you take the summer signings, like I said, Nico Williams, Omar Richards, Lewis O'Brien. You take all them. Lingard's going to be on more than them combined, and I just think it's hella risky from Nottingham Forest. And what are they going to do if they get relegated? They can't afford to pay him them wages in the Championship. Even if there was a clause in there, or they agreed to let Jesse Lingard leave for free, who's going to come in and take him? Jesse Lingard, that is. Jesse Lingard today, 29 years of age, is struggling to get a club to pay him 150 grand a week. I'm not sure there's going to be much more clubs after him a year older after getting relegated with Nottingham Forest. Now, for what it's worth, I think Nottingham Forest will stay up. And I actually think Jesse Lingard, in a weird way, if they could get him in without smashing their wage structure into pieces, would be a fantastic signing. Forest need an attacking midfielder. Lingard's likely to start week in, week out, form permitting, of course, at the City Ground. He will be a big part of the way Steve Cooper sets up just behind their new striker and Brennan Johnson. I think Forest have a position for him, but I can't get my head around it why they would bring in Jesse Lingard on that much money. Now I imagine they might wangle it a little bit and give Jesse Lingard say 50,000 a week, but his signing on fee will be substantial. I don't know, I'm just throwing these out there, 50 grand a week and giving him a 10 million sign on fee, because that would be the transfer fee, giving him 10 million, 50 grand a week, so actually his wage structure is in keeping with the rest of the squad. But I just struggle to believe that it's just different. It doesn't add up with what Nottingham Forest has been doing so far this summer, but should he go there, it would be an excellent signing for him. But like I said, the one big positive for West Ham fans is it's finally coming to an end. But if he goes to Nottingham Forest, I do feel sorry for David Moyes, because this has been David Moyes' #1 target for 12 months, and we will have failed to get him while not having to negotiate with a club, and we would have got beaten to him by a Championship club, a newly promoted club. This should have been tied up for West Ham. This should have been tied up long ago. As soon as West Ham were able to negotiate with Jesse Lingard, it should have been done. We should have gone straight in there and agreed something. However, both parties have been negotiating. It's been going on and on and on, and now Nottingham Forest has come in later on and said, well, here you go, we've got involved now. A month ago, Nottingham Forest weren't in the running for Jesse Lingard. It was pretty much a one-horse race, and we have messed it up. And I'm disappointed about not getting him, because, like I said, top player. I think we love him at West Ham. I'm not going to sit here and pretend I don't want him back, because we look like we're not going to get him. We love him back. But the thing that bugs me more is the fact that this is David Moyes' #1 target, and we failed to secure him. Now, I know a lot of people say, well, we can't pay X, Y, Z for him. But if it's the player David Moyes wants, it's the player that David Moyes wants. And I imagine the player that we do sign instead of Jesse Lingard will probably cost more, because we will have a transfer fee to pay for him. I see us linked to Dwight McNeil today. Now, don't get me wrong, I like Dwight McNeil. I've already spoken about him this summer. 15 million price tag. We're already starting at 15 million. Now, I'm aware it's different because Dwight McNeil's only 22, blah, blah, blah. But he's not David Moyes' #1 target. Jesse Lingard is. And that's the bit I'm struggling to swallow, because I feel a bit sorry for David Moyes in regards to the Jesse Lingard thing. But anyway, it's coming to a conclusion. Hopefully by Friday we'll know if Jesse Lingard's coming back to West Ham or he's joining Nottingham Forest. Could go somewhere else. But I'm still hoping. Still optimistic, not confident, optimistic that he might come back to West Ham United. Anyway, if you enjoyed this video somehow, do drop a like on it, subscribe to the channel. I'll put a link to my own channel in this as well. I'll put the video at the end of this video, it'll be on the screen in a few seconds, and I'll catch you tomorrow where there's no Jesse Lingard talk. It's all about left backs.